מה קרה ולמה את בבאסה.
שלום, שלום וברוכים לרדיו ג'ודאיקה בתוכנית הכי ישראלי ב-90.2, הרדיו של אירופה. ואנחנו כאן, יפעת ושגית, לרשותכם, עבורכם, בתוכנית שאנחנו מקווים שאתם מאוד תאהבו. שגיתוש,
היי,
מה
מאמה.
קורה?
בסדר.
מה יש?
טוב, איך עבר השבוע?
היה קר.
עדיין קר.
היה קר. חם בלב. אבל היה קר.
מאוד.
כן.
כל היופי הזה לא הרשים אותך? הלבן?
לא. אבל באתי עם חולצה
פחות.
לבנה. כן. אני, את האמת, ברגעים כאלה לא מבינה כל כך למה עזבתי את ניו יורק. לפחות שם מנקים את הרחוב.
אבל גם בניו יורק יש
נכון, אבל
שלם, זה לא ש...
מנקים, שמים מלח. לא כמו פה.
יעילות, את אומרת.
כן, כן. כאן זה אני והשכן. אני העברתי את השלג אליו, והוא החזיר אותו אליי. עשינו מסירות.
יפה, את רואה
כן.
ככה, אינטראקציה בין אנשי השכונה, זה גם דבר חשוב.
נכון, לומדים להכיר.
כן. ואיך הסתדרת עם הנהיגה?
טוב, יש לי קצת מיילג' בנהיגה בשלג, אז זה היה בסדר, זה לא... כן.
אני לא אוהבת לנהוג. אני נהגתי בזהירות ועם הרבה תפילות, אבל זה פחות הקטע שלי.
ואני מאוד מאוד שמחה שנהגת בזהירות, ושאת כאן איתנו היום, כי היום יש לנו פודקאסט בנושא סופר מעניין, שהוא לא משהו שבוא נגיד את ואני חושבות עליו בדרך כלל, כישראלים. את רוצה אולי לספר לנו על מה אנחנו מדברים היום?
אז אנחנו לא חושבות עליו כישראלים, לא רק כישראלים, כישראלים ויהודים. יש לנו פה אורחת מקסימה, שהיא גם חברה, שקוראים לה ביאנקה ונדר הוק. The lovely Bianca. How are you, darling?
I'm good.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, girls, for having me.
So-
I'm glad to be here.
So just to let our audience know who we are talking to, Bianca, she's originally from the Netherlands. She lives here in Brussels for 10 years already. Came for love,
Yes,
which is a great reason to come here.
absolutely.
And you are working in a school, primary school, Flemish primary school, volunteering. Oh, you are gorgeous. Volunteering
Thank you so much.
in an
I
organization.
try to do my best.
You're doing great. Volunteering in an organization for mental and physical challenges. And also, you are certified coach with horses, which is very, very interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we met also one of your horse, which is a sweetie.
Yes. She's Nika. She's 23 years old. She's here in Belgium. So it's good still to have my horse here.
Yeah,
It's something good for the soul.
I can imagine. And we invited you because we want to talk about a subject which is really interesting and precious, converting to Judaism, which is a very, very special choice. Not an
Absolutely.
easy one,
Yeah,
but you did it.
I did it. It's been quite a ride. It started when I traveled to Australia, New Zealand, Nepal, and Thailand. There it was the first time that I was in contact with Jews and Israelis, because I never met them personally. And that was the beginning of a long way till I finally converted in 2017.
Okay.
And I've been living in Israel. The first time I visited there, I fell in love with the country and the people. So I went back to live there for a while. So it's been quite a trip, but I don't regret anything. It's been worth it, and sometimes it's difficult to explain, but I guess it's something in the soul or maybe in the DNA.
Yes, exactly what I wanted to ask. What initially brought you to this, I don't know, the feeling, the thoughts, the wish to convert?
It didn't come straight ahead, but I really liked it in Israel. That's why I went back. Then I learned more about Judaism as I grew up in a Christian family, not too much practicing, but and I didn't have any Jews around me, so I didn't know anything about it. So
No one?
No one. No one. But they say the grandmother of my grandmother, there are stories that she was Jewish. This is what people are saying. But I could never prove it. So this would mean also that I'm only 1/16 Jewish, which is not enough to be considered Jewish, of course. But I learned more and more about Judaism. I found it very fascinating, and I realized that I'm not really a Christian because I don't see the difference after the story of Jesus. And then with the years, I learned more and more and more. And with the time, I always, even after I lived in Israel, I went back every year.
And
then-
sorry to interrupt, you said that you learned more and more in a place where there are no Jewish people at all. Where did you start with the learning? From where did you start the learning? actually?
So there was a good friend. He became a good friend. I met him in Thailand and then in Australia. And a friend that I also knew, he suicide. And this was, of course, very hard for him. And this, because I also knew him, he contacted me because I traveled with this guy longer. And this was for him a bit a turning point. So he got more into religion himself. He started to put tefillin. So then we talk a lot when I was living there about Judaism. I think there's a lot of knowledge. And for me, I don't know if everybody has the same. I think everybody has his personal way to believe. But for me, every living being is like divine. And I think that Judaism is most close to the truth, although I don't agree with all the things that maybe the rabbis say. But I still, for me, it's the right way. And I feel it's my people, and nothing touches me more than when I see that the Jewish people have been suffering through and how they still embrace life and enjoy and to, yeah.
And let me ask you, because converting is a very, very personal journey. And I guess also it's an alienating journey at one point, because you're a part of adopting something new is letting go of something old. How did that journey change you, or what did you learn about yourself throughout this conversion process?
Yeah, it was quite difficult, as in the Netherlands I still didn't have any Jewish people around me. But then I found a man that was originally Christian, that didn't live too far from my parents' town where I grew up. And he was very into the Christian religion, and he studied a lot the Bible, and in the end he found the truth for him in the Torah. So he converted with all his family, and they moved to Israel. And it's really a great man. They're doing a great job. And he mentioned to me about an organization in Rotterdam. It's called Oel Abraham. And there was the man that started, Meir Villegas. He had his father that was Jewish, and in the end he also converted, and it's called Oel Abraham, so people are welcome there, Noachites, and Christians that are interested in Torah, and this was really like a warm bath. It's a very Sephardic, warm community, and this really helped me to make the first steps. Although it was not so easy to tell my family and my friends, and as they really don't know nothing about it, it was also sometimes a bit hard because my brothers, they had quite a strong opinion. They're not so spiritual as I am, and for them they didn't understand even that I go to Israel. They said, what, you're suicidal? What do you want to do there? You're crazy. So this doesn't really encourage me to share with them. So this made it sometimes a bit painful, but okay. On the other hand, maybe I also hold back too much and I didn't share enough, but it's always a matter of interaction. And my parents, although it's a bit strange for them in the beginning, especially my father, but he's maybe a bit more narrow-minded, but they are really very supporting, and they've always been there, and I can always feel open to talk about anything, and this has really been a great support.
I'm going a little bit back. At what age you actually start feeling those connection, and at what age you started to talk about it, actually?
So for me, the big change was that I went to Israel because I had a good friend and I went to visit him. And this was the first time in Israel. And this was for me like an overwhelming experience.
At what age was it?
It was, let me think 1 second. I was 29 already.
Okay.
And then when I got back, I didn't realize I really liked it, but I've been traveling more. So it was not the first foreign country that I visited. So when I got back in the Netherlands, I was so sad. I felt so homesick, so much I want to go back to Israel. This was, I think, something already strong, but then I thought, you should convert, but it didn't come for me. So then I lived in Israel for about 1.5 years, between 2004 and 2006. And after that, I went back because I didn't find it too easy also not to have like a family-in-law or your own family there. But I went, when I was once living back in the Netherlands, I went back every year. I call her Imanava. She is from Yemenite roots, like you are. And she's the mother of a good friend, and I went always to their home. So she was like my base there. And slowly with the years, I realized I was looking for the partner of my life, that I'm not able to be with somebody that doesn't love Israel. And then with the years, I think it's maybe around 2011, 2012, I realized that if I want to have a family, the guy has to be Jewish. So then I said, okay, if he has to be Jewish, you have to do the step. And then I started to study with a rabbi in 2013 in May. It was a rabbi in Antwerp, online. And then I look on the Jewish dating sites. And then in August 2030, I met my husband. So, and then we continued the trip together for the conversion.
Wow.
As for him, it's also been a bit challenging because he grew up in Burundi. There was no synagogue there. Of course, he did his bar mitzvah, and they were doing, I think, maybe Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah and Pesach, but he couldn't even read the Shema and the Siddur. So it's been also quite challenging for him.
So it was also bringing him home to
נכון.
כל הכבוד.
תודה רבה.
The accent is perfect.
In the Dutch,
Dutch helps.
The Dutch, we have the get, you know, especially in the Rotterdam area, we have a strong...
And what would you say was the most challenging part of the conversion process? Because we hear so much about it. You actually went through it.
Yeah.
What, for you at least, what was the part that you said, what, this is included?
Yeah. As it took me many years, let's say from 2004, the first time in Israel, and 2030 that I really started. So I knew quite well what I was starting the process. I think I found it the hardest to really integrate into the community. As for me, still, I feel a bit like in Israel, it's very open and very warm, and I think the community is quite closed in Brussels.
In Belgium, in Brussels. Okay.
So I found it a bit hard, and also I didn't talk the language. I didn't talk French, and I don't talk Hebrew, so this was probably also a bit challenging. This was, I think, a bit the hardest, and also with the friends. And because I knew that I will have to learn to read Hebrew, to read the Siddur, to learn the Jewish calendar, about kosher food, all the halacha, taharat mizpacha. So all these things I learned. So it took 4 years. It's been quite tough. And what I think sometimes it's more like personal, emotional, that you take the step conscious, but sometimes I still feel that maybe I should do more, you know, because I make the conversion. But I found it not so easy in the society here to do maybe more mitzvot or to keep more of the laws. But on the other hand, it's between me and God in the end, you know. I don't have to,
of course,
feel guilty for anybody, but this
but
is sometimes,
still,
yeah.
This is your Jewish roots to feel guilty.
Yeah.
But as Ifat said, it's very challenging and it's not easy, even when you think that you are prepared to a change. It doesn't matter which change. There wasn't a point, you know, that you said, oh, this mitzvah, it's too much. Because even for people who were born Jewish, And you know, as you said, as your husband, we don't know everything. We don't practice everything. We come from different cultures, environments. So, you know, okay, we are Jewish, but it doesn't mean that we practice everything. And now you learn it, you practice it. Not even, you know, something that you said, wow, maybe they exaggerate a bit here with all the demands.
Yeah, for me, one of the hardest thing, but this is very personal for me, I think that in the past, let's say, people were having a cow in their garden and the cow was having a good life and then you were eating it. And nowadays, I think with the bio industry that all the animals are not in such a nice condition till we eat them. This I feel a bit that it's a pity that Judaism doesn't take more care of this for the kosher meat, let's say, because for me the animal well-being is very important. So this, I think, it's a bit as the situation changed, how the meat is provided nowadays or in the past. For me, I have difficulties with this, but the rabbis have their own ideas, and this is for me. These things is.
But does it
okay.
exist in other religions, the taking care of the animals, or is it in terms of what you're saying, growing the animals, and does it exist in other religions?
For me, I think that the word of God, like in the Torah, it says that you shouldn't boil the meat of the calf in the milk of the mother. So for me, it's two things: is not to take the milk of the mother that is meant for the baby, and not to kill a too young life. This is how I feel it a bit, and I think also I don't know exactly all these details because I'm not a rabbi, but also that they say that once there will be the third temple, that we will all eat vegetarian. So there is something in the. This is another discussion.
I will do vegetarian. I will not do worms.
But it's for me what is difficult is that I think it's for the Torah. What for me it is that it's about well-being and to be good to other living creatures.
Yes.
And this is a bit I feel nowadays the animals they suffer and it's because of we want to consume a lot of meat. And also I think in the past people were eating less meat. And for me, I think that it's sort of a misunderstanding that they should better take care of this in the halacha. This is something that is really for me touching me, and I have difficulties with this. For me, I say it's better to eat a bio meat or a free-range animal than to eat kosher. But of course, this is a discussion that the rabbi will not agree on. But
okay, but we can come with questions, and we can come, you know, with the.
Yes.
I don't know if the hesitation is the right word, but suggestion for the future.
No, and I think also there are so many mitzvot that we keep more not than that we keep. But okay,
keeping the mitzvot. I guess during your study you had to start already. It was not difficult with your family because you come from a non-Jewish, and now you came also with requests.
Yeah.
I see it also with people that chozrim b'tshuva, and suddenly they say, no, mommy, I cannot eat at your place, I cannot eat this, that.
Yeah.
And in Pesach, is there rice on the table?
My husband is Sephardic.
She knew how to choose not to suffer too much.
I know. Don't take my rice. We have a special song for you that we wanted to play. So let's take a break. Stay with us. We are in Radio Judaica 90.2 FM, and we will be right back.
Give thanks to the Lord, call on his name, sing to him, sing praises, talk about his wonders, glory to his name. Let those seeking our God have a joyful heart, have a joyful heart.
قدموا الشكر للرب ادعوا باسمه وعرفوا بأعماله
God of Israel, God of Israel, God of Israel, קדוש ישראל, יתברך שמך. קבץ את עמך מכל הגלויות ובכל הלשונות אל אדמת השלום.
يجمع كل الأبناء من كل الأمم وكل لسان في أرض السلام.
He gathers all his sons from every nation and from every tribe in the land of peace. In the land of peace, the land of peace. Oh, God of Israel, God of Israel, God of Israel, blessed be your name. Kadosh Israel, Kadosh Israel, Kadosh Israel, יתברך שמך.
قدوس إسرائيل قدوس إسرائيل قدوس إسرائيل نبارك اسمك. اتحدوا بالرب إله إبراهيم اتحدوا بالرب إله إبراهيم.
התאחדו כל בני אברהם תחת אלוהי אברהם.
قدوس إسرائيل قدوس إسرائيل قدوس إسرائيل نبارك اسمك.
קדוש ישראל, קדוש ישראל, קדוש ישראל, יתברך שמך.
أنت قدوس أنت
וואו, איזה שיר.
מהמם.
כן. Tell me, Bianca, can I ask you, it's the first time that I hear this song.
Me too.
Ah, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. What made you choose it? Where did you hear it? It's excellent.
So I've been quite active for about a year after what happened on this October 7th in Israel. And on this path, I've been posting a lot to inform my non-Jewish friends about our side of the story, because the media share quite a lot of the opposite, and it's been quite challenging, to say the least. And so on the way, when I was a lot on social media, I discovered this singer and this song. And what I think is beautiful, that it's an Israeli singer, and he's in this song. There is a woman from Lebanon. She's singing in Arab, and she's singing also this song. So she look out for him to make a cooperation, and this give hope that there still maybe can be peace between the Jews and the Arab people. So it's on one hand, it's just very touching, because I feel the God of Israel is my God, and on the other hand, I think it's so important still to keep hope and to look at the small positive lights that are there.
I am really moved by how moved you are. We were here over the break, and I could feel you from this distance, and I'm really touched. I just want you to know that it's amazing, right? It's like you are.
It's the
It's
soul,
like
you
it's
know.
always it's something that it's like it's always been there. I can't imagine you
Yeah.
not being a part of our people. I
Oh.
can't imagine. It's not. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's so natural and it's so flowing, and I know that at least for me the past year, there were moments where I felt very alone, very lonely. And
Yeah.
you and I, Sagit, were talking about it. And to just know that there are people that are out there and that they are a part of our nation by choice, really by choice. It's very moving,
Amazing.
yeah, and and it makes you feel like you're not alone anymore. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
And-
And we see that you brought a picture with you. Can you show us what is that picture?
I don't know. Sorry.
Yes.
Can you see it?
Yes.
So actually, it's the Yemenite rabbis that are studying Torah in Jerusalem. It's a quite well-known picture, but I bought it when I was in Jerusalem with my only Dutch friend that came to visit me in Israel. And it was about a time when I was moving back to the Netherlands. And I said, I have to buy this picture. I found it in a beautiful photo shop.
It's
And
amazing.
it should be like a reminder for me not to forget to learn about Judaism. And also, what is fascinating me is that I know the Yemenite people, they are the ones that kept most of the tradition, that are most close to the authentic Torah.
Torah,
And mitzvot. And what is also nice, because there was a lack of Torah books, Torah rolls, and they study from both sides, so they could read also the Hebrew up and down, upside down. And also, it's when I was meeting the first Israeli, when I was in Australia, they gave me to eat jachnung, which is a typical Yemenite dish.
So this is why you are my friend,
Of
actually.
course, I want your Yemenite, your
Exactly.
Yemenite jachnung.
with the tomatoes,
All interest.
with the
Yeah.
schug.
Yeah.
Yes, and I have also a good friend that has been working for Radio Judaica in the past. He's also Yemenite. He was there as a friend beside me when I started my conversion. And now he's fighting quite a tough disease, so I hope he will make it. So I think about
Bezrat
him
Hashem.
also.
Bezrat Hashem.
So it's a bit like the circle is round. It started with jachnung in Australia,
Yeah.
in Bondi Beach, as a backpacker, and I'm here now with my friends and my...
And we talk about it just before, about the choice that you made. And making this kind of choice, it's really a huge one. And especially now, this year, did you feel any difference?
Ah, it's
With you, not with the rest of, not with the people that around us, in our favor or not in our favor. You, your soul, and your feeling as a Jewish, is anything changed?
I think it makes you even feel more stronger connected to your Jewish roots, although people maybe say I'm not Jewish roots, but for me, it's the only way. I'm feeling more Jewish than anything else. And it's touching me more than anything else. Nothing can touch me like this anti-Semitism or these negative things about Jewish people. And it brought me also more close. I'm burning every day a candle for the people that are in Gaza, for the soldiers, for the hostages. And but sometimes it feels a bit depressing, like to see all these things. You say, where are we going to live for the future, all these things. On the other hand, it doesn't matter we are Jewish, even if you're religious Jewish or you're not religious, it's all our package together, we are all in the same boat. And on the other hand, I would also like to say that I had, when I was posting on social media, there have been quite some people that I'm not even talking to them often. It's more like I know them and they contact me and they say, thank you so much for sharing. I'm so happy that I hear the other side of the story. Know that we pray for you. I have a great neighbor, he's from Cameroon. He's praying for us. He said, we are all praying for you. We love the Jewish people. So we shouldn't forget about this. And also, I was in a concert of Yonina. This is the couple from Israel. It was organized by Christians for Israel in the Netherlands. It's an organization that's doing a lot. And it was amazing. There were a few hundred people. And I have also an ex-colleague from the Netherlands. he put the Israeli flag in his garden just after
Amazing.
the 7th of October.
Really?
I wouldn't dare to do it, but he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
he
I
was
have not
Yeah.
seen a
Yeah.
single
Yeah.
Israeli flag.
no, so there is quite a.
And my daughter asked me actually when we were driving around, she said, I see a lot of flags out there, but I don't see the flag of Israel.
Yeah.
Why is that? Can we put it up?
Yeah.
And I said, look, I'm not so sure. And then you realize that you have to find a way, and we will have most likely a podcast on the topic because it's a topic on its own. How do you convey the anti-Semitism without scaring off the younger generation about it? And it's a bit of a touchy subject.
Yeah.
Is that something, have you had any of these conversations with your child at all? Has that come up?
Yes, we have neighbors that are wonderful people. It's a Muslim family actually, but we didn't know them so long as they were not living there so long. But they are a bit like us. It's normal people. They're very well integrated. They work with children, and we have where we live. It's a sort of communal living. So we have like a communal place where the kids can play ping pong, and then they were having like us often friends or family over for Friday, and then they were with the cousins and they asked Ethan also to come to play. And then when he came back, he said, Mama, you know, I was scared. I didn't know if I should go with them. I say, but why you're scared? I said, maybe they will ask me if I'm Jewish or Muslim. What should I say? Maybe it's better I say that I'm Muslim. And then I say, no, sweetie, you can say. And if this kind of people, they judge you for this, then it's they have to learn something. And it's not this kind of people that they will hurt you. But so you can understand even... Okay, you know, it's great people. We really like them. We the kids play together. We take barbecue together, but it's in the back of the mind.
And it's a
of course,
sensitive period.
it's
Oh,
very
yeah.
sensitive. So
And did you lose friends?
I didn't lose
No,
friends,
but I'm
no.
not talking about specifically about now,
Mhm.
about this period.
Mhm.
Did people from your past took distance after you choose to become Jewish?
No.
Okay.
For me, I'm a bit black or white in this. In general, I'm quite gray. But for me, if I feel somebody that I cannot just be myself, for me, it's difficult to be with people that you can have another opinion, but you can talk about it. And for me, when people are too narrow-minded, I cannot be friends with them. So I have to be honest that all my friends, they stay there, and I can share my story, and I can also talk with them about how it's for me after the 7th of October, although I
Yeah.
felt sometimes lonely and I could have been more supportive. But it's really, okay, so it's not their cup of tea. You know how to say they are
Yeah.
not, they don't know enough about it. They don't want to dive into it. And sometimes this can feel a bit lonely. And you say, why you don't dive a bit more into it? You know how crucial it is for our future that you speak out. But this they don't do. And this I find sometimes hard. On the other hand, maybe before I knew any Jewish people, before I started my path, I would also maybe not speak out. So it's easy to judge, but everybody is having his own life, is busy with his own life. And this I had also a discussion with my friends from high school that I said I felt a bit left alone, and then they were really caring and said this was not what we meant to do, and of course we are always there for you, because I even said to the point, so if I have to hide one day I can come to you because I don't feel that you are there for me. And this was a bit a tough conversation, but they said, of course, how can you even think? And my friends, he cried, how you can even say this? But for me, I felt really a bit left alone, because they didn't even condemn Hamas, but they say, it's so obvious that we condemn what they're doing that there's no need even to say it. But I felt a bit...
That you need to hear.
Yeah.
There is something that runs quite often on social media and comes back almost periodically every few months. And it's the idea that if the majority of the people, clearly we think that the majority of the people understand what is the difference between a democratic state and a terrorist organization. Having said that, the majority is silent. And what you end up hearing is really the ones that the smaller groups that have such a strong sense of ideology on either side, and that's what you end up hearing on the radio. But had the majority voiced what needed to be voiced the truth, we would be in a better situation. And because the majority doesn't do that, the majority becomes irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand what you're talking about when it's, I found it also upsetting when people said to me, well, but of course we agree with the situation, but you don't post about it and you don't talk about it and you don't correct people when they tell you, when they tell you otherwise. You stay silent. So it's a missed opportunity to convey the truth, and it's a very, very hard thing to accept. And the past year has been much more difficult for us to accept because you want people to say.
Yeah, and especially as the media, I stopped to read certain newspapers or like this because I can understand when people read most of the newspaper that we have in Belgium or the Netherlands or anywhere in the Western countries, you become anti-Semitic because it's so only the side of the Palestinians. Of course, they are in a bad situation, but if they have better leaders, they will have a better future. And this is why the pressure is only on Israel. Of course, Israel is making mistakes, but
I would like to go back to our topic, which is conversion, and I'm interested to know what you like the most about being Jewish.
I love the chuppah and the bar mitzvah and the life. I love that. It's like you go and everybody's dancing, and it's like in the Dutch weddings, it's first everybody's sitting in a circle. They have to get drunk
Notice
first.
she didn't say the food.
Yes.
No
Food,
food.
of course,
Yes.
also. No, but
Nobody's
I like
complaining
this,
about the bacon.
No, it's I like it's full of life, and it's still. I think also what is even in difficult times, it's what I like is, and also the rabbis, they say you have to have simcha in your heart, even if it's difficult, because sometimes it's easy to be a bit like, it's difficult or this is
מצווה
painful.
גדולה להיות בשמחה.
Right.
Yeah?
Simcha.
Ouais.
Yeah.
And can you describe the moment that you actually become a Jewish? That they told you, you're Jewish, you're Jewish, you're Jewish.
It was crazy, actually, because I had to go to the consistoire in Paris, and I didn't speak enough. I spoke enough French, but I couldn't write enough in French to do the exam written. So I had to do an oral exam. So I had an interview with the rabbi, and I explained, and then he said, okay. So he asked me many questions. I had to read, and he asked question about halacha, and then he asked if my husband is there. No, he said he's in Belgium. I didn't know he has to come because he said you can come this afternoon for the Beit Din. This means to be in front of 3 rabbis. So he said you can go now to eat and you come back in 3 hours. This was a surprise because normally you have to go 2, 3, 4 times. And so I went one time, and then I talked with the 3 rabbis, and they said okay. And then I said, I can say a small prayer, and then I start to cry. I said, I cannot believe, I was so happy. And I remember I go down the stairs, I call my husband, I say, I'm Jewish. It was very emotional. But for me, the most emotional was still the chuppah.
Yeah?
Yeah, so this was in the same year, in September 2017. We did a chuppah, and I was super emotional. It was like to feel all the things together. I became Jewish. I found the half of my life. We have our son. And this was also a special a gift of God, because they said I cannot get children naturally. And in the end, I conceived natural in Israel. So he's made in Israel.
בעזרת השם.
Thank God. Baruch Hashem. So, yeah.
And the Brit Milah was not shocking.
This is also very contradictory, because he had a difficult start. So he had the Brit Milah only when he was 8 or 9 months. So it had to be in the hospital, and it was a bit bloody. But still, once we got home, there was a minyan in our living room, and I was walking with my boy, and I was crying of happiness still. And it's crazy.
Spirituality. Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing feeling.
What can I say? It's I've known you for quite some time, and I didn't know what I know now. And I think that I would like to ask as a final question, what would you recommend to somebody that is considering converting, or what kind of advice can you give to somebody that is now on the fence, thinking about it, not so sure? Any words of advice?
I think it has to be something that you feel deep inside, because I know also there's quite some people that want to do it for the partner, but I think it's not the same. But of course, it can also be that you find a partner and you want to do it. I also have one friend in Israel that it's like this. But if you feel it in your heart, it's not an easy process, but it's definitely worth it. And all the process already the years before, it's like a homecoming, and this is the homecoming to have it also on paper to, if you want to go to Israel to live there, you have no problems, and you are also officially recognized as one of them, because sometimes it can in the beginning feel a bit like people, they have sometimes, it's a convert, they do it only for the partner or like this. But for me, it was already before I look for the husband after I decided to do it. But it's been definitely worth it. But you have to have a bit persistence to continue the process.
So go through the journey with yourself first and persevere.
I think so, yeah.
Excellent. I wanted to thank you for coming here today and sharing your story. We have thousands of people that are listening to us in different countries in Europe, and for sure amongst them there are a lot of mixed couples. And so I know that this is a question that pops up in conversations, especially amongst mixed families. And so thank you for being with us today.
It's a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you, girls. It's been
It's
a
our
pleasure to
pleasure.
share
You
my
are a
story.
beautiful soul, and you
Thank
know
you.
how much I love you.
I'm happy to
It was
to
very,
get
very,
home and to be here with
very
you.
interesting.
And thank you for being with us today here in Radio Judaica. תודה שאתם כאן איתנו ברדיו ג'ודאיקה 90.2. I will just finish because we have a special song. And when we were thinking about this podcast, there is something that says, פתאום קם אדם בבוקר ומחליט שהוא עם ומתחיל ללכת. A man wakes up in the morning, decides that he's a nation, and begins walking. And every person in his way, he greets with hello, shalom.